Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
But I can't hear anybody. Please confirm if you can hear me, please, so I can continue my presentation.
I can hear you, Emmanuel. Good morning.
Okay. Please confirm if you can hear me so I can continue.
Please check the chat. We can hear you. Continue.
All right. Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Adesemowo Emmanuel. My name is Adesemowo Emmanuel, and I'm from the PHP backend team. So, today, my topic is building production ready applications. What separates projects from real product? So today I'll not just be talking about you building a project because there's a difference between project and a product. So I'll be talking about what is different between you building a product and what is different between you building a project, and what also need to know from how you can move from just building a project as a developer to start building a product. So we're not just talking about okay, it just work locally on a machine. Now we're talking about can what you build, can it survive when real users start using your product? So now once you build a project, normally it works perfectly, which is fine. And then once you deploy it, then users start using it, start coming in, they sign in, they start using your product. As time goes on, your app might crashes, it might like come slow, you might have unexpected bugs, or you might have security issues. You get so with the mindset, or if you only have a mindset of just building a project without building a product, these are likely the things you will face. So that's why I'll be talking about what are the things you need to know from building a project to start building a product. So first of all, I'll be talking about what a project is and what a product is. Now, a project now is something you just do that okay. When you build a project, it works locally on your machine. You don't need to like test it. You get so a product is something you can just be like, okay, let's say your personal project now. Just build it for you, and you might just even host it sef, and you can just always send it to people to like check it out. Or you might also send it out when you want to use for interview, but there's no real users on it. You get when you're building a project doesn't need any real user or anybody to actually be using it. You have minimal error handling. There's no scalability concern because it's something like just like the project personal project. You get okay, I've built something, but it's not actually something users are using. And it's also like a short term focus, more like okay, let me build a project that can add to my portfolio, or I can build a project that I can add to my CV, or I can build a project that okay, I can showcase if I'm like this thing, I want to apply for a job or interview. So that's what projects are. Now, when we're talking of a product, now a product is not something that you build that okay, it's for my system or for my machine only. No, a product now you are going to run it in production. That means you will be hosting it online. That is one. Also, a product one thing to know is real users depends on it. A product is something you're not building for yourself only. You are building it for lot of users to use. So you real user depends on your project, which is not you. That's two. Also, a product is something that you build that okay, you can handle failure gracefully. Yes, because once one or two issues comes in, you have one or two bugs or anything, you will be able to like really handle it fast and quickly fix the issue too. Also, when you're building a product, it's something that will also scales with growth because as time goes on, your product will want to like increase. You get to have more users and you want to add more features and everything. So you must have this mindset of scalability in the future of growth. Say, okay, this product will grow on later on in the future. And also have long-term maintenance because a product is not something for the short period of time. It's something that okay, it's for the long run. for a long period of time, and we want to like maintain it for a long period of time. Now, what does production ready means? We are talking of building production ready products. We are talking of something that is reliable. That is the first thing. You are building something that is reliable, meaning you are building a product that it doesn't just crash. You get, because that even if lot of, let's say, 1,000 users sign up on it and start using your this thing, your product, it mustn't crash anyhow. Second thing, scalability. You're building something that, okay, you must be able to like handle growth, whereby, okay, as time goes on, you have more users on it, so you must be able to like handle growth. Also maintainable. It was also something that, okay, as you're building this product, you have to like, okay, update it as time goes on. If you want to add more features, you do to like, okay, you can add more features as time goes on. You get. And then one other one is secure, which is also to protect users. This is something that is very important when you're building a product, because once you're building a product and users want to sign in on your product, they will have to like be rest assured, say, okay, as you are signing in on your product and they are putting in any of their data on your product, it must be secured. So that's one thing you must have at the back of your mind. So, okay, you want to build production ready product, you must be able to like secure your users' data or their users' bio data. You get, you able to secure it from hackers too. And you also observable. You must be able to like monitor as everything is going. So production ready is equal to predictable users predictable under pressure, meaning as more users increases, is something that, okay, you need to improve the more too. So what are the core pillars of building a production ready code? Number one, code quality. I've talked about this in my previous presentation. That's you writing maintainable code. We're talking of code quality. I'm talking of you when you are building your product, your code must be something that must be maintainable. You get, you must be able to write clean code, because as time goes on, you might need to bring in more developers, you might need to bring in more people to work on your product with you. So when we're talking of code quality, we're talking of writing clean code. And we're talking of writing clean code, we're talking of writing code that even if you onboard new people, they can like understand your code, they can read your code, and they can work on it. It's easy for them to like onboard them on your code and work on it. The second pillar is error handling. When I'm building a product, you must be able to like, okay, add error handling to your code. Okay, if there's an error, you like pass it to your console. Okay, this is the error, by using try catch when you're from the front end, so that if there's an error, you have to see it and you have to fix it. And then another one is performance. We are talking of performance. We are talking about building a product whereby it loads very fast. You get, even if there's like 1,000 users, 10,000 users using your product at the same time, it must be something that must be able to load very fast. That's optimization. You get. So and we can do that using lazy loading and some you can also do that using caching too and some other things too. So that the kind of thing you must have at the back of your mind when you want to build a product. Then also have about security. I've made mention of this. That means your product must be secure from hackers. It must be secure from hackers, because hackers will always like want to like breach through your product. So you must also take note of security. Okay, as I'm building this thing, how can I make it secure? You get, and that is by you keeping your this in your env, your main data inside your env files, and you know deploying them. Then also we have deployment and dev. Also, when you're building a product, you know it's not something that only works on your laptop. It's something that must be live for other people to test. So you have to deploy it online too, using different hosting platforms too. They also have monitoring and logging too. So you will have to like monitor the growth of your product too, and also able to log in any error or any issue to, so yeah, so that if there's any issue, you can quickly fix it too. So these are the core pillars, or core pillars of you need to know when you want to build a product and not just building a project. So I will give you a sample of code. This is a sample of the code when you're just building a project. Now you can see in this code now we are talking about, for the developers in the house, they will understand this code. Now what we are just trying to do here is We are just getting the user. This is an endpoint to get the user, right? From the database. And when you get the user from the database, you like send back the user back to the front end. Yeah, that is if you're not building a project or you're not doing something that okay, I want to show for this thing. Maybe I want to do interview, I want to just show for someone, okay, yes, I have worked on something. Yeah. You don't really need to do much like that when you're doing a project. But now when it now comes to you building something of a product ready code now, number one, you have to add a try catch. Okay, does the user exist? This is one thing you notice within that when you're just building that this thing, that product in that project. We are building a production ready code now, which is a product. You must just look, okay, first thing first, does the user exist? That's authentication. You have to know say does the user exist. If the user does not exist, then it returns a message that okay, no users found, so that the person will know okay, it doesn't exist on your product. So you have to like sign in first or you have to sign up too. Then if the user exists, then you now return the user back and the person can like continue. And then also you also have a cache, a try cache, whereby if there's an any extra error, whether it's server error, then return it back to the front end and the user will say okay, there's an internal server error, and then the developer will like know that okay, yes, they have to fix the error. So this is the difference between the production ready code and the project level code. Now in the production ready code, you can see say we added an authentication whereby you also say okay, does the user exist? They will know first. We also added a try catch so you can fix errors, because once users start using your this thing, your product, they don't want to just say okay, the page just go blank. So you must just be like okay, if there's an error, you display the error, so, and then also your developers too, they will also work on it and fix it too. So that's just the difference between this thing. Now, what are the things that breaks when your product is live, that's in production? Number one, it works on my machine, it doesn't work on your partner machine. I think if you are a developer, you've heard of this thing, okay, it works on machine A, but it doesn't work on machine B. Why? Maybe because what your machine is building on, the version of your machine is different from the version of another person machine. So it might work on your own, it might not work on that person's own too. And you know, when you're building a product, you're building something that thousands of users will use, and each of them have different versions on their machine. So number one, that's one of the things that breaks your product. It might work on this, I might not work on that too. So and to solve that one, that's when you use Docker to to use Docker to solve that issue of okay, it works on my machine, it doesn't work on my machine. That's one. Number two, no input validation. Now, hackers might try to like send in this thing, incorrect validation or incorrect input to your this thing, to your product. So one of the things you have to know, so okay, when you're building a product that can break your product is invalid input. So you have to have like a validation to your inputs. Okay, anytime they want to input something or a data, don't send the data to your product. You must validate it first before sending it so that it won't break your product while it's on production. Then the third one is no logging. That is you no logging your errors on your console, because if an issue, okay, let's say you have your product is working, then it comes like you have an internal a server error now. Ehen. You have to like log it out so that okay, once this is okay, it is not working, then the user will say okay, they have an internal server error, and then your developer will to like work on it. You know, okay, this is where the issue is coming from, and this is where the issue is not coming from. You get. They also have poor database design too. When you're building a product, you have to have it at the back of your mind that okay, as time goes on, your users might increase from 1 users to 10 users, from 10 users to 100 users, from 100 users to 1,000 users, from 1,000 users to 10,000 users. So need to ask yourself, okay, as time goes on, the database you are writing, can it handle something of 10,000 users? If 10,000 users are on it or are making a request once, can it handle it? If it cannot handle it, then you need to like okay, you need to work on your database to like make it able to handle at least 10,000 users, 100,000 users, because as time goes on, your product will begin to increase. You also add coded configs. That's you like your this your API keys, your password, and the rest. There's one thing you need to know when you're writing a product. If you're writing a product or you're building a product, you don't put your API keys in your code. You get, you don't put your password in your code. But yeah, if you're doing payment integration, your pay stack, secret key, and your public key, you don't hard code it. You don't write it in your code. Like, there's what we call environment variable. That is where you add all those your API key, your secret key, your public key, your test key, and all those other ports. You put them inside your env file, because if you hard code it and just put it inside your code, then anybody can go to your web page online, inspect your code, and they can copy all those your sensitive data you get, and they can use it to hack your system. So that's one other thing you need to have in your back of your mind. Say, okay, when you are building something or production ready, you don't add them to your code, you add them to your env file. And when you add this to your env file, when you are pushing your code to GitHub, you don't push your env file to GitHub. I think that's one thing every developer must do. You don't push your env file to GitHub, because that's where you are storing sensitive keys or sensitive data. You get. So these are the things you need to know that they can break your products online. And if you can solve them, then you won't have any issue with your product. So small issue locally equals to big failures in production. If you ignore one or two of these things, these small issues, later on in the future, your product will have one or two issues, and that one is for sure too. So now, tools that helps. For logging, you can use Listing. For monitoring, you can use Sentry. For CI or CD, you can use your GitHub Action. For testing, you can use Jest. And for Docker, you can use Consistency. So now, the mindset shift. I've taken note of this. I've said this in my previous presentation. As a junior developer, okay, say you just want to build something. Does it works? As a mid-level developer, okay, is it clean? Is my code down right? Is it clean? Is other can other people retrieve it? But as a senior developer, you get, you need to ask your question. Okay, what happens when it breaks? What can you do once what you are building? Let's say it breaks. What can you do, okay, to fix the issue? These are the mind shifts you have to have. And if you have this mindset, then you can move from a junior developer to a mid-level, and from a mid-level to a senior developer. So after this presentation, I hope you guys will like able to start today, like, okay, from just you building a project to you building a product. You get, anytime you are working on anything, start treating it like you are trying to build a product, and not just even building a project. Even if it's even a project, try to treat it as you are building a product, because the more you treat it as you are building a product, it also helps you when you start building a product. And what are the things you have to start today? Number one, add error handling. This is, you add your console.log, you add your try cache, you get. So okay, if you have any error, how can you handle your error immediately? Number two, validate input. Don't just allow your users to just send any type of input to your, or any type of data to your product. This can break down your product. So you have to like add a validation input. Anytime you want to send a product and a data, you have to validate it first. Then number three, use your env variable. When using your env variable, I've said down, that's using your environment variable, that's .env. And that's where you store your sensitive data. You get, that's like your API keys, you store your API keys there, you store your public keys, you store other sensitive keys there, and you don't send it to your GitHub, because if you send it to your GitHub or you add them to your main code, your product won't be secured, and you'll be prone to hackers too. Then also number four, you add login too. Then number five, you write test. Anytime you are doing something, you test it first. You write test, is it working? And if it's working, you move on. Then number six, you deploy your app. You get, because when you're building a product, it's not something only for you, it's something for other people. So, and they must be able to access it online. So you must to like deploy your app too. So anyone can build a project. I can Anyone can build a project. Even anyone can also, okay, say, okay, you open AI, you give it prompt to build something, that's a project. to show, okay, I know this. No, yes, anybody can do that, but not everyone can be the product. That's the thing. Anyone can be the project, but not everyone can be the product. The product. And one of the things that differentiates you from someone that does be the project is these little things that you need to know. Okay, I had error in I add input validation, I take note of securities and everything. So engineer builds system that survives with users. Yeah, that's one of the things that make you a really software engineer. As an engineer, you want to build something that it survives even if you have like 10,000 users, 20,000 users, 13,000 users, your app does not crash. So I believe that brings me to the end of my presentation. So is there any question before I move into
Yes,
ask my
please.
own question?
Yes, please.
That
Am I audible?
no. Does anybody have any
Hello.
question?